Hello, esteemed gentlemen. Some people follow the crowd. Sigma males don't even notice there was a crowd. Society has rules, scripts, and social cues. Sigma males, they missed the memo and tossed the manual into the fire for warmth. There's something quietly unnerving about them. They're not rebels. They're not leaders. They're ghosts who walk among the living, completely detached from what the world obsessively worships: status, attention, approval, groupthink. And here's a wild fact. According to psychological studies, less than 1% of men fall into the Sigma archetype. That's rarer than finding someone who actually enjoys small talk at a party, but while most people are hardwired to seek connection and validation, Sigma males operate on an entirely different frequency. There are things, entire mindsets, beliefs, social habits, that the average person breathes like oxygen. Yet a Sigma male simply can't comprehend. Not because he's trying to be different, but because his brain isn't built that way. In today's video, we're peeling back the layers and diving deep into 12 mind-boggling things Sigma males just can't understand. Not because they're defiant, but because they're disconnected from the matrix itself. And fair warning, this isn't your feel-good, watered-down personality content. These truths might just make you question the way you've been living. Let's get into it. Number 1. Romantic clinginess disguised as love. Sigma males don't understand the kind of love that clings, suffocates, and disguises itself as care. That intense neediness people often call romantic just doesn't make sense to them. They don't see love as two halves making a whole. To them, love isn't about being someone's emotional crutch or life support system. It's about two whole people choosing to walk side by side, not leaning on each other to stay standing. What really baffles them is how society keeps romanticizing this obsession with "I can't live without you" love. It sounds poetic in movies, sure, but in real life, Sigma males see it as emotional captivity. They don't find desperation flattering. They find it terrifying, because underneath all that clinginess, they see fear. Fear of being alone, fear of facing oneself, fear of silence. And that's exactly what Sigma males don't tolerate. Emotional fear disguised as affection. They believe that real love should never cost you your peace, identity, or independence. If someone starts making their presence feel like pressure, they pull back instantly. They'd rather walk away than be trapped in a relationship where space is seen as betrayal. Most people can't handle that. They think distance means detachment, or that silence means something is wrong. But for the Sigma male, needing space isn't coldness. It's survival. They also can't comprehend the need for constant reassurance. If someone needs daily affirmations to feel loved, they'll start to feel more like a therapist than a partner. That drains them. To a Sigma male, love should be quiet, stable, and free, not noisy, needy, and exhausting. So when people cling, beg for attention, or confuse obsession with devotion, it doesn't pull a Sigma male closer. It pushes him away. Not out of cruelty, but because love to him should never feel like a cage. And if it does, he won't fight it. He'll just walk out and never look back. Number 2. The need to be constantly connected. Sigma males find the modern obsession with being constantly connected completely absurd. The idea that someone should be reachable every minute of every day, on text, on call, on social media, isn't just annoying to them, it's invasive. They don't get how people treat their phones like life support machines, checking notifications like they're waiting for oxygen. For Sigma males, silence isn't awkward. It's not something to be filled. It's sacred. It's where they recharge, process, and think clearly. So when society pressures them to stay in touch, respond immediately, or always be available, they check out. Not just mentally, fully. Phone off. D&D mode on. And if they go dark for a few days, it's not personal, it's intentional. What most people see as disconnection, they see as freedom. They don't need to be in group chats, scrolling endlessly, or replying within seconds to feel relevant. In fact, the more noise there is, the more likely they are to disappear. They see constant connectivity as digital bondage, just a different kind of leash. And when people call them out for being hard to reach or emotionally unavailable, they don't explain or apologize. They just raise an eyebrow. Because to them, needing to be in constant contact isn't a sign of closeness. It's a sign of emotional dependence. Sigma males don't ghost to be rude. They unplug because it's how they stay sane. That's how they protect their time, their peace, and their thoughts. If someone takes offense to that, it only confirms they were never compatible with a Sigma in the first place. While others panic without Wi-Fi or feel anxious when they haven't posted in 24 hours, Sigma males feel relief. No noise, no pressure, no ping, ping, ping dragging their focus away from what actually matters. That's not avoidance, that's control, that's power. Number 3. Worshipping charisma over competence. Sigma males just can't wrap their heads around how easily people fall for charisma. To them, charm without substance is just noise dressed up in confidence. Yet time and time again, they watch the world hand over power, attention, and trust to people who smile big, talk loud, and say absolutely nothing of value. It's frustrating, it's laughable, and honestly, it's a little scary. They don't understand how society equates being likable with being capable. A charming face, a smooth voice, a few well-timed jokes, and suddenly someone's a leader, a guru, an expert. But if you strip away the flash, what's left? Usually not much. Sigma males spot this immediately. They don't get blinded by charisma. In fact, it raises their suspicion. Loud doesn't mean wise. Confident doesn't mean competent. While everyone else gets hypnotized by personalities, Sigma males are tuned into performance. They watch for results, not theatrics. They respect the person who quietly builds something in the background, not the one taking selfies in the spotlight. The flashy talkers usually burn out or get exposed. The silent doers, they stay winning. That's why Sigma males have no desire to impress anyone or play that game themselves. They don't care about looking successful. They are successful, even if no one's watching. They're more drawn to the guy in the room who speaks once but says something worth remembering than the one who dominates the conversation with nothing but noise. So when people blindly worship influencers, salesmen, or smooth-talking leaders, Sigma males shake their heads. It's like watching a magic trick everyone falls for, even when the wires are showing. They'd rather trust the one with calluses on their hands than the one with a perfect smile. To a Sigma male, charisma without competence is like a shiny car with no engine. It might look impressive, but it's not going anywhere. Number 4. Keeping toxic people just to avoid conflict. Sigma males can't make sense of why people willingly keep toxic relationships alive just to avoid a bit of tension. To them, that's like leaving a ticking time bomb under your bed because you're scared of making noise while trying to defuse it. They watch people tolerate disrespect, manipulation, guilt-tripping, and endless drama, not because they want to, but because they're too afraid to speak up, set a boundary, or say, "This isn't working." That level of emotional self-sabotage is something Sigma males don't compute. They don't believe in dragging out fake peace. If a relationship, friendship, family, romantic or otherwise, starts polluting their mental space, they don't wait for it to get better. They quietly exit, no argument, no warning, no dramatic speeches, just gone. That's not because they're cold, it's because they know the price of staying is higher than the discomfort of leaving. They don't need closure. They don't need approval. They don't need a mutual agreement. If someone starts disturbing their internal balance, that person becomes a ghost in their life. Simple. What confuses them even more is how some people will keep chaotic individuals around just to keep the peace. But what peace, exactly? The kind that comes with walking on eggshells and biting your tongue every time someone crosses a line? That's not peace. That's quiet suffering. Sigma males refuse to live that way. They don't do emotional debt. They don't keep people around out of guilt. They don't hold on to history if the present is toxic. If someone becomes a drain, they pull the plug. And to most people, that seems harsh. But to a Sigma male, it's just self-respect. They believe your energy is currency, and wasting it on chaos is a bad investment. So while others keep saying maybe they'll change, Sigma males are already gone, off building a life where peace isn't a negotiation. Number 5, making busy a personality. They don't get why Sigma males don't understand why people brag about being busy like it's a badge of honor. The non-stop grind, the back-to-back meetings, the overstuffed calendar, it's not impressive to them. It looks like chaos wearing a productivity mask. Society has somehow made burnout fashionable, and Sigma males find that deeply confusing. Being overwhelmed isn't a flex, it's a signal that something's out of alignment. They see people who treat exhaustion like a lifestyle and think, what exactly are you running from? The truth is, many people stay busy so they don't have to sit still and face their own thoughts. They use constant activity as a distraction. But Sigma males live in the stillness that others avoid. That's where they think, build, and grow. They're wired differently. They don't need to be seen hustling to prove their worth. In fact, they prefer being underestimated while working in silence. The noise, the glorification of struggle, the obsession with always being in motion, it all looks like madness to them. Freedom is their real goal, and freedom doesn't come from being booked and busy. It comes from being focused and selective. Sigma males measure value in results, not in hours spent looking busy. They'd rather work 2 hours in deep, uninterrupted flow than waste 10 in shallow distraction. And they don't care if no one notices. They're not performing for anyone. When people post about how little they've slept, how packed their day is, how they're grinding 24/7, Sigma males just shake their heads. To them, that's not ambition, it's addiction. Addiction to movement, attention, and the illusion of progress. What they know and what most people miss is this. If your schedule is full, but your spirit is empty, you're not succeeding, you're just surviving. And that's not the kind of life a Sigma male is willing to live. Number 6, fake brotherhood in male circles. Sigma males have always been skeptical of the so-called brotherhood that exists in many male circles. You know the type: forced bonding over beer, fake loyalty built on shallow jokes, surface-level advice, and a whole lot of posturing. To the outside world, it might look like a solid brotherhood, but to a Sigma male, it's just a well-dressed performance. They don't buy into the idea that just because you laugh at the same jokes or go to the same gym, it automatically makes someone trustworthy or real. In fact, they often see these groups as nothing more than ego collectives, guys flexing for one another, hyping each other up with fake praise, and hiding behind the comfort of the group so they don't have to face their own insecurities. What really makes them pull away is the unwritten code of silence in these circles. No one's allowed to be brutally honest. Vulnerability is taboo. Everything stays surface level to protect the group's image. If one guy starts to change, evolve, or think differently, suddenly he's acting brand new or too deep. That kind of emotional ceiling suffocates a Sigma male. He doesn't want to be part of a clique where loyalty is conditional, tied to how well you fit the mold. He values real connection, conversations that go past the highlight reel, friendships that don't vanish when you stop playing along. Most of these brotherhoods only last as long as the mutual ego strokes do. The second someone breaks the script, the bond breaks too. So Sigma males walk alone, not because they hate people, but because they'd rather have no circle than a fake one. They don't confuse proximity with loyalty or shared experiences with true connection. They know real brotherhood is rare, unspoken, and built on depth, not just shared drinks and recycled bravado. To them, pretending to belong somewhere just to avoid standing alone is the real weakness. And that's a role they refuse to play. Number 7, authority without substance. Just because you're the boss, Sigma males have a built-in resistance to blind obedience. Titles, ranks, job positions, they don't impress them. Just because someone has manager, director, or CEO slapped next to their name doesn't automatically earn a Sigma male's respect. To them, authority without substance is like a crown made of paper, flashy but meaningless. They've watched too many people get promoted because they played politics, sucked up to the right people, or looked the part. And they've seen those same people make terrible decisions, mistreat others, or hide behind their power. That's why Sigma males don't respond to authority. They inspect it. If the person in charge can't lead with clarity, integrity, and real ability, the Sigma tunes out, quietly but completely. They don't confront or rebel loudly, they just stop engaging. They'll do their job, maybe even better than expected, but the emotional buy-in? Gone. They're not motivated by fear, pressure, or approval. They're moved by competence, vision, and authenticity. If a leader lacks that, the Sigma male mentally checks out, even if he's still in the room. This mindset is especially confusing to traditional structures that are built on hierarchy. Most people are conditioned to fall in line, follow orders, and not question the chain of command. But Sigma males were never wired that way. They don't see authority as sacred. They see it as something to be earned, not assumed. And when they do meet someone who actually knows what they're doing, someone with both the position and the wisdom to match it, that person earns the Sigma male's loyalty, not because of the title, but because of the merit. Sigma males will follow a real leader, but they won't follow a loud one, a flashy one, or a fake one. Respect to them is never automatic. It's built through action, consistency, and truth. If you don't have that, your title means nothing, and they won't pretend otherwise. Number 8. Public performances of happiness. Sigma males have zero interest in putting on a show for the world, especially when it comes to happiness. The whole social media culture of constantly broadcasting how amazing life is, posting curated photos, exaggerated captions, and endless stories of fake joy is completely alien to them. It doesn't make sense. If you're truly content, why are you trying so hard to prove it? They see right through the performative nature of modern happiness. All the living my best life posts, the forced smiles, the travel pics with over-edited filters, it looks less like joy and more like desperation for approval. Sigma males aren't impressed by any of it. In fact, it makes them suspicious. Because in their world, real peace doesn't need a platform. It just is. To a Sigma male, true happiness is found in silence, solitude, and self-alignment. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it's not something you brand and market. It's personal. And the louder someone screams about how great their life is, the more likely a Sigma male is to think, what are they trying to hide? They don't understand how people can spend hours planning posts, crafting captions, and staging moments, instead of actually experiencing those moments. They don't take pictures of their coffee to prove they're having a peaceful morning. They just drink it in peace. They don't document their progress. They live it, quietly and deliberately. Sigma males also know that the need to constantly perform happiness is usually rooted in emptiness. It's a way of masking discomfort, insecurity, or even deep dissatisfaction. They've seen people post smiling selfies while crumbling behind the scenes. That kind of duality makes no sense to them. If you're not okay, be not okay. Don't dress it up for an audience. That's why Sigma males are often offline for long periods. Not because they're hiding, but because they're living. They're not interested in proving anything to anyone. If life is good, they enjoy it quietly. If life is hard, they work through it privately. Either way, they don't owe the world a performance. To them, happiness isn't a brand. It's not a highlight reel. It's a state of being. And if you have to announce it all the time, you probably don't really have it. Number 9. Loyalty to broken systems. Sigma males have no patience for blind loyalty, especially to systems that are clearly broken. Whether it's a toxic workplace with power-hungry managers, a backwards cultural norm that punishes individuality, or a hollow tradition that no longer serves anyone, Sigma males don't stick around out of habit or fear. The phrase, "that's just the way it is," might as well be a trigger. It signals to them that people have stopped thinking critically and started settling. They simply don't understand how others can tolerate environments that drain them day after day, just because it's familiar or expected. Staying loyal to something that stifles your growth? That's not noble. That's self-abandonment. Sigma males would rather risk the unknown than stay trapped in something that insults their intelligence or values. This mindset makes them dangerous in the eyes of traditional structures. Companies want employees who obey. Families want members who conform. Cultures want citizens who don't question the script. But Sigma males aren't built to follow scripts. They're built to rewrite them. They won't pretend a broken system is working just to keep everyone comfortable. They know that systems, like jobs, ideologies, and even relationships, only survive when people comply with them. The moment someone steps out and says, "This is nonsense," the illusion starts to crack, and Sigma males are often the first to do exactly that. Not with loud protests or rebellion, but with quiet exit. No drama, no announcements. Just a calm, deliberate walkout from whatever doesn't align. This doesn't mean they're impatient or reckless. In fact, they often stay just long enough to observe, understand the flaws, and plan their exit with precision. But once they've seen the rot, they don't unsee it. They don't keep showing up out of guilt, fear, or obligation. That kind of loyalty, to a system that doesn't deserve it, is a betrayal of self. And that's something a Sigma male will never tolerate. So when others say, "It's just the way things are," Sigma males quietly respond, "Then I'm not staying." They don't fight to fix things that refuse to change. They just move on and build something better on their own terms. Number 10. Needing to be seen all the time. Sigma males are genuinely baffled by the obsession people have with being seen, acknowledged, praised, or constantly validated. It's not just that they don't chase the spotlight, they actively reject it. While others scramble for attention, compete for recognition, and panic when they're not the center of something, Sigma males are quietly slipping into the background on purpose. They don't find visibility exciting, they find it exhausting. The idea of constantly needing people to notice them, like them, or applaud them feels shallow and fake. To them, if you have to announce your value all the time, maybe you don't believe in it yourself. Real power, in their eyes, doesn't require a stage. It doesn't beg for applause. It operates quietly behind the scenes where the noise can't reach. They've seen how people will twist themselves into someone else just to be accepted, just to be seen by the right crowd. Sigma males don't play that game. They'd rather disappear completely than compromise who they are for a few moments of attention. And when they vanish, it's not some emotional stunt, it's strategic, it's peace. It's them choosing stillness over spectacle. They don't need to be at every event, on every feed, in every conversation. They're not checking views, likes, or follower counts. They're not dressing for approval, they're dressing for comfort. They don't want to be known widely. They want to be known deeply, by very few, if any at all. In fact, many Sigma males would rather people forget about them altogether. The less attention they attract, the more freedom they have. They can think, move, build, and exist without expectation or interference. That's where they thrive, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows behind it. So while others are busy making noise just to feel real, Sigma males are quietly carving out a life that doesn't need an audience. They don't just step out of the spotlight, they turn it off entirely. Because for them, the goal has never been to be seen. The goal is to see clearly, and you can't do that when you're blinded by the need to be noticed. Number 11. Keeping toxic people just to avoid conflict. Sigma males have zero tolerance for emotional chaos, especially when it's wrapped in the disguise of friendship, family ties, or long history. What completely baffles them is how many people knowingly keep toxic individuals in their lives just to avoid one uncomfortable conversation. The fear of saying, "This isn't working," or "You're draining me," keeps people stuck in emotional quicksand. And to a Sigma male, that's madness. They don't believe in tolerating someone's bad behavior just because you've known them for years, or because they're family, or because you don't want to rock the boat. To a Sigma, if the boat is sinking, rock it. Blow it up if you have to, just don't sit there pretending the water isn't rising. They can't understand why someone would choose quiet misery over honest confrontation. Sigma males aren't interested in drama, but they're also not afraid of discomfort. That's why, when a relationship starts turning toxic, whether it's a partner, a friend, a coworker, they don't start yelling, pleading, or explaining. They just vanish. No fight, no long message, no drawn-out emotional performance, just distance, that's silence. That's not pettiness, it's strategy, it's peace. And here's the brutal truth. They believe if you have to constantly explain basic respect to someone, you've already lost. So they don't explain, they don't negotiate with chaos, they just remove themselves. It's not cold, it's clean, no lingering resentment, no unfinished arguments, just a hard reset that most people never saw coming. Others may call it avoidance, but Sigma males see it as preservation. Life is short, and they refuse to waste it patching holes in relationships that only sink them deeper. While people cling to what's familiar out of guilt, fear, or emotional habit, the Sigma walks away. with no hesitation, because peace is non-negotiable. If someone's presence costs them clarity, self-respect, or mental stillness, that person becomes a ghost. Not because the Sigma male is cruel, but because he knows what most people refuse to admit. Some people deserve silence more than a second chance. Number 12. Compromising truth to be nice. Sigma males have no interest in sugarcoating reality to protect fragile egos. They see the world for what it is, not what people wish it was, and they speak accordingly. The idea of softening the truth just to seem polite or keep everyone comfortable feels dishonest to them. In a world addicted to niceties, white lies, and carefully filtered words, Sigma males are unapologetically direct. Not because they enjoy being harsh, but because they value truth over approval. They don't believe that being nice means telling people what they want to hear. In fact, they find that kind of fake politeness disrespectful. To a Sigma male, lying to protect someone's feelings isn't kindness. It's manipulation. It creates a false reality, keeps people stagnant, and enables behavior that probably needs to be called out. They're not interested in playing that game. This makes them intimidating to a lot of people. Their honesty can feel sharp, especially to those who are used to coddling and polite avoidance. But Sigma males don't say things to hurt. They say things to reveal. And they trust that people strong enough to grow will appreciate it in the long run. They also don't do the dance of passive-aggressive communication. If something's wrong, they'll say it. If something doesn't sit right, they won't pretend it does. They don't tiptoe around truth for the sake of being liked. Because being liked isn't their goal. Being real is. In fact, they're more likely to walk away from a situation entirely than play along with shallow social etiquette. They find the politics of small talk, fake compliments, and empty flattery exhausting. It drains them. They'd rather have one blunt, honest conversation than a lifetime of sugar-coated lies. To a Sigma male, truth is a filter. It reveals who can handle the raw and unedited version of life and who can't, and they're okay with that. They're not here to manage your emotions. They're here to live in clarity, not comfort. So if you ask a Sigma male for their opinion, prepare for the real answer. It won't be wrapped in fluff. It won't be softened for your convenience. It'll be honest, and that, to them, is the ultimate form of respect. The Sigma male doesn't just live outside the box. He refuses to acknowledge the box even exists. In a world obsessed with appearances, noise, and approval, he moves in silence, guided by clarity, not chaos. He questions what others blindly follow. He walks away from what others tolerate. And he chooses truth, solitude, and self-respect over popularity or comfort. What makes Sigma males so hard to understand isn't that they're complicated. It's that they've detached from the systems most people are still chained to. They don't need attention to feel valid. They don't cling to toxic people to feel loved. They don't obey authority unless it's earned. And they definitely don't stay in broken systems just to avoid discomfort. They vanish when things turn fake. They disconnect when the noise gets too loud. They tell the truth even when it hurts. And they stay invisible not because they're weak, but because power doesn't always need a stage. So while the rest of the world is busy performing, reacting, and conforming, Sigma males are watching quietly, thinking, building, living on their own terms. Not because they're better than anyone, but because they've realized that freedom, real freedom, only begins when you stop needing to be understood. If this video spoke to something deep in you, it's probably not by accident. Hit that subscribe button and become part of a space that values depth over noise, truth over comfort, and individuality over the script. Don't forget to like, share, and drop a comment below. We'd love to hear which point hit you the hardest. Until next time, stay sharp, stay silent, and above all, stay true to who you are. If you found value in this video, don't just scroll away. Support the message. Tap that subscribe button and join a growing community that refuses to follow the herd. If you're tired of surface-level content and crave raw, unfiltered truth, this is your space, like the video if it spoke to you. Comment below and let us know which insight hit the hardest, or which one made you rethink everything. Your voice matters here, and if you know someone who needs to hear this, don't keep it to yourself, share it. Because sometimes one honest message can do what 100 fake smiles never will. Thanks for watching, and remember, Stay grounded, stay real, stay unapologetically Sigma.